Welcome to Midnight Narratives. You're watching a bite-sized tale from creepy history. Real stories, real chills, straight from the shadows of forgotten towns and haunted pasts. Hit like, and let's get into it. The Cardross Crash, Death on Myall Street. On a warm Saturday night in February 2006, the small town of Cardross, just outside Mildura, was shattered by a tragedy that remains one of the darkest chapters in the region's recent memory. At about 9:50 p.m., a group of local teenagers was walking along Myall Street after spending the evening at a nearby friend's place. It was just a typical night in a close-knit rural town. Kids talking, laughing, walking the roads that had always felt safe. Then came the roar of an engine. Out of the darkness came a Ford EA Falcon utility vehicle, driven by 35-year-old Thomas Graham Toll. He had been drinking and had earlier taken his 6-year-old son and 4-year-old daughter on an unlicensed joyride, speeding recklessly across rural roads. Toll lost control as he swerved to avoid a shallow drain, mounted the embankment, and plowed straight into the group of teenagers. The force was catastrophic. 6 teenagers were killed: Corey and Adam Hannigan, Abby and Shane Minter, Steve Cummings, and Tyler Fenton. Several others were left with life-altering injuries. Some were flung meters into nearby fields. A few survivors later described the sound of bones breaking, the smell of burnt rubber, and the silence that followed, pierced only by agonized screams. What made it worse was Toll's response. After mowing down the teens, he crashed into a pole, panicked, and fled on foot, leaving his children behind in the vehicle and the scene in chaos. He hid overnight and was only arrested the following day. It was later revealed he was under the influence of alcohol and had a long history of driving offenses. He showed little remorse during trial, claiming the crash was just an accident. The tragedy devastated Cardross. Mildura locals turned up in the hundreds for memorials and vigils. Handmade crosses were hammered into the dirt along Myall Street, where flowers and letters from classmates and friends gathered like offerings. For months, the town was frozen in collective grief. Survivors suffered PTSD, and families were shattered forever. Toll was eventually found guilty on multiple counts of culpable driving causing death and sentenced to 10 years in prison, a sentence many felt was insultingly lenient given the scale of the tragedy. Years later, Myall Street still feels haunted. Locals report that every February, the air seems heavier near the site. Some say they've seen figures walking the roadside at night, flickering just outside the reach of headlights, and heard the sound of voices whispering when the road is otherwise silent. Whether it's lingering trauma or something else, one thing is certain: Cardross will never forget that night. It wasn't just a crash, it was a collision with death itself. That was just a glimpse. Don't forget to like and sub. The full collection drops tonight at 6 p.m. in our Creepy History compilation. Stay curious and stay creeped out.